Hey everyone, this is Will from BeerNT.com, and I am going to show you how to set up a dual boot system with Windows XP and Windows 7. This video has a tendency, or is going to be quite long. Hopefully I can get it all in one YouTube session, but I'm going to be pausing the video a lot between times when we're waiting for the install to complete or a section of it to complete. So when you're going to install two different versions of an operating system or anything in that matter, it's important to Windows needs to be installed first when you're working with like a Linux system, just because it's a little harder to get Windows to boot to a Linux system than it is to get Linux boot to a Windows system. However, that's not what we're here for this video for. When you're working with two different copies of Windows, you need to put in the older one first. So in this case, I'm going to insert the XP disk. I set up a new virtual machine here called Dual Boot. Gave it a bunch of memory, some of my processors, set up some video memory. Gave it like a 60 gig hard drive. You're probably going to have more, but just for the purpose of this demonstration, this will work fine. So I'm going to start this guy up. And we're going to boot here to the Windows CD. And now it's going to go through some stuff about loading itself, and I'm going to pause the video and unpause when we get to the selection screen. Alright, and after a couple minutes of that, loading some files, we're going to get to this screen. We're going to hit enter to set up Windows XP. We're going to agree to the license agreement. And we have unpartitioned space. Some people like to have a third partition where they can share data between the two installations, and other people just like they'll just put a folder on the root of each drive. In this case, we're just going to go with the two partition scheme. So I'm actually going to do a C. I'm going to create a partition that's 20,000 megabytes, or about 20 gigs. Now, like I said, with your hard drives, you're going to be using a lot. Maybe a lot more, possibly a lot less. XP needs, a couple, maybe 3 gigs to install and get your a lot of your smaller programs in, and the more stuff you put in it, the larger it's going to be. Anyhow, we'll partition 1, format it in NTFS. The reason why, and just a little bit ago I said that we need to install the older operating system first, and the reason we install the older operating system first is because when you go to install 7, or if you're putting in Vista, the newer operating system can always detect the older operating system, but the reverse is not true. So if you installed Vista and then you installed XP, or you installed 7 and then you installed XP, you're actually going to overwrite the boot file, and it's not going to be able to recognize the newer operating system. Whereas you install XP, you install 7 overwrites the boot files for XP, and it says, well, XP is here, and it makes a note of it and it lists it with it. So that's why you go about doing that. There are ways to try and repair that information and repair those boot files. Sometimes they work, and sometimes you accidentally delete your partition tables while you're using them. So this is really the easiest and most direct way to do this. I'm going to let the Windows setup copy this and restart. I'm going to pause the video again, and when it's done, I will unpause the video. Alright, and we're back, and you see that the Windows XP setup is finished, and we're going to restart the computer, in this case the virtual machine, and we're not going to boot from CD, and we're going to let the Windows XP setup begin. Now, considering it's just it's supposed to be just a video on booting multiple operating systems, I could probably just skip the Windows XP setup, but in this case, I'm going to try and cover the entire thing. So, it'll sit here for a while. It's going to process. It's going to install. This little timer will count down. Eventually, it's going to pop up with some options, and I will start the video back up as soon as those options appear. All right, after setup, we come to the Windows XP Professional Setup pop-up here. It wants regional and language options. So most of the time these are going to be, if you're a U.S. or other North American customer, usually these are going to be about what you want. Otherwise, you can hit customize and change your options. I'm going to type in a name. You can type in an organization if you want. Computer name. And an admin password. In this case, this is just a demo, so I'm not going to type one in. Make sure your clock is set to the correct time and date, and change your time zone settings. We're going to go back into Windows Setup a bit, and another option menu will pop up momentarily. You may pop up the networking menu here, hit typical settings. Workgroup is usually fine. I mean, if you need to make it part of a domain, you usually know about this in advance, or someone else is doing it. After Windows setup finishes, the machine will reboot, and Windows will start. Going to go through a couple of configuration options right here, and then we should be on the desktop. For those of you who haven't heard these sounds before, this is what happens when Windows XP actually supports your sound card out of the box. I know most of the newer PCs that you install Windows XP on, you won't hear anything right about now. You can skip that part. You'll be configuring it later. Yeah. And the Windows XP install is complete. Now you have to go through and most likely, install some drivers, install your software, get all that working. But as far as the dual boot goes, I'm actually going to split these videos up, and I'm going to cover the Windows 7 installation and setting up for dual boot in the next video. So this has been dual boot part 1, and I am Will for BRNIT. You can drop us a line here on YouTube and ask for additional videos. Is there a specific topic that you want me to make a video on? You can also stop by our forums at brnit.com/forum. You can drop the same line there, say I want this kind of video. You can also, request help for your any PC trouble you may be having, and our community and myself will try to help you out. You can also help our community members out who are also having problems. We also carry a full line of PC repair training videos at our brnit.com/store. We have toolkits. There's many things in the store. So brnit.com/store is where you can locate those. I'm Will. Hope to see you on the forums, and I'll be putting up video number 2 tomorrow. Thanks for watching.